Hey, me, Matt. Yeah, it's been roughly a month and a half since I've done a video, and like I said, took all the videos I did in the past year off. I figured, you know what? There's no reason or point to make videos that don't make any sense, especially for me. So, at least that's my thought. I just wanted to get my voice heard from other people in other countries and make friends, and that's what I did. And this may be my first video since, you know, the last time I did one. So, I'm just responding to B-Girl15, B-Girl15, and B-Girl5, sorry. Did a video, sorry, responding to this guy, 75, and he asked a bunch of questions, so I'm gonna lay it down like this. So, okay, question 1, what is your name? My name is Matt, and I'm from Ontario, Canada, as I pointed out in many of my videos. I won't say where I live at this point, but I was born in Oshawa, Ontario. I'm 23 years old, and I have 2 dogs. You've seen them in the video, and I don't have any kids. In fact, I don't like kids. And I'm single, so there you go. I just like to go on Facebook a lot. I go on YouTube once in a while. I used to do videos on here. I know I don't do any anymore, but you know, that's just the way it is. It is just, and you know, I don't have a lot of time, and that's probably, you know, whatever. So, what would you do with Power of 10 winnings? I have no idea. I'm bad with money, if that's what it's asking. I don't just subscribe to any magazine, although I have a few. I watch a lot of TV, so I'm a big TV. I don't really have a specific favorite show, although Backstage and the series is a good show. I'm a hardcore wrestling fan. I've always watched the WWE, and it's awesome. I was on to watch it since I was like 8 years old, and the fact that it's an awesome show, and TNA is a good show, and I don't know about UCF, it's a lot of hit and miss. Favorite TV show ever, or like I said that already. A favorite YouTuber, well, I have a lot of, like, I know the people that I do talk to, Sung Hero, I'm pretty good friends, I think, with the 1938 Superman, Andy, and I haven't talked to Jordan and James in a while, funny pranks, but those are the 3 main people that are my favorite among others. Yeah. There's a couple of good sketch comedy troupes, and there's this one that's in my neighborhood. They're really good. I wish I could think of them right now. And they are on here. I will be posting. I'll post that. I'll be posting the people that I do mention on here. So, first music purchase. I was in grade 10 when I bought Alice Cooper. Welcome.
Juggling your child's ballet or soccer practice and making a hot, wholesome dinner is not easy. Try Maple Leaf Simply Fresh refrigerated meal kits. Each kit contains ingredients that are individually vacuum sealed for freshness. Simply mix the ingredients in the tray, heat, and your delicious dinner is ready in 8 minutes or less. Plus, each pack has the Heart and Stroke Foundation's health check symbol, meeting their fat and sodium standards for healthy eating. Look for Maple Leaf's Simply Fresh refrigerated meal kits, located near the deli. Brand Power, helping you buy better.
I choose Kinetic Comfort Tab for my section. So, I'm
Hey, me Matt here. A quick update. For those of you who don't know WrestleMania, or WWE in general, Ric Flair had his last match at WrestleMania. Therefore now, after 36 years in the business, Ric Flair is no more. Now, I would not have wanted him to wrestle when he got back in 2001, but of course he was a little bit younger, and you know, still, when you look at Ric Flair, you looked at the fact that I didn't think he looked muscular. You know, he was in his 50s, and, you know, with all the medical shit that he was. I mean, if you watched the match out in Toronto with Undertaker at WrestleMania 18, it looked like he was in bad shape, and really surprised that he actually fought. So now that he's no more, the wrestlers are going on, especially Batista and Shawn Michaels, going on about how well, it was Shawn Michaels' fault that Ric Flair retired because of his ego, and you know, Shawn Michaels says he did the right thing. Now, I'm not a big fan of Shawn Michaels either, but I think that he did do the right thing. I mean, Ric Flair's almost 60, and the guy is in poor shape, and there's nobody that can be better than Shawn Michaels to get rid of him. Whether or not that was the bad choice or not. I mean, Hogan's not even in the WWE anymore. He made the smart choice. And if you saw the thing that Triple H did, which was awesome, by the way, last Monday, it was really interesting. But I'm surprised that out of everyone that came out, like Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and all those guys, I'm surprised I didn't see Randy Savage. But I never really liked Ric Flair anyway as a wrestler. I don't know, since I watched it since I was 7, right after WrestleMania 8, I got to see Ric Flair, and I didn't like him, never did, but I think that, you know, he retired. That's a good thing. It's probably the best thing that could happen. And, you know, I just can't wait to see the angle that's gonna go between Shawn Michaels and Batista. That'll be really cool, man. And then, yeah, so that's about it. So, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hey, me Matt here. Just wanna clarify, I made a video a couple of days ago and apparently didn't go through here, so I'm gonna try this quick caption method. Just wanna first of all say congratulations on getting a real president. It's gotta tell you, I was fully surprised that, actually I wasn't surprised that he didn't get in. I actually thought McCain was gonna get in, but yeah. So congrats to the Obama family. I think finally the United States of America will get back together and we can deal with our lives instead of, I'm sorry, their lives. I'm Canadian, I forgot. Instead of dealing with somebody else's. That being said, I was gonna do a wrestling promo, or a wrestling chat about Monday Night Raw, and saying how that was supposedly the 100th episode, it was actually quite bad. There could have been a lot more stars coming out, a lot more wrestlers of the past, and the dance-off was kind of lame. And then TNA's got all the WCW wrestlers as the main event mafia. That's interesting. Lastly on a note, I'd like to send my condolences out to, can't remember the kid's name, but to his family. There was an incident a while back where a boy from Barrie, Ontario ran away from his family's house, and they were looking for him, and they actually finally found him. He, I guess, climbed up a tree and fell off and died. And I don't know, it kind of hits close to home in a way, and not because of where it happened, because I have no idea where Barrie is. But anyway, the fact that when you're a parent, your responsibility is to take care of your kids. And yeah, they get frustrated, and it get frustrating. But the bottom line is, the guy kicked the son out, but didn't bother to go chase him earlier. I think some parents have a lot of growing up to do. And nowadays, you know, it just, to know that happened, you know, that really made me mad. To know they will never get a chance to talk it out with him, or the mother will never get a chance to hug him. But anyways, see you later. Bye.
Anything you get from a comic book is stupid.
Give me a beer, Tim. Keep them coming.
Hey, Oswald, what's the matter?
I did something really awful last night. I hit my mom in the face with a bowling ball.
You did what?
Well, we were bowling, and she was getting on me about drinking too much, and we kept fighting, and when I went to take my backswing, the ball slipped and hit her right in the face, and she lost 2 teeth. My poor mom. First 30 hours of labor giving birth to my big pumpkin head.
Bonnie?
You were waiting too long. That kept me...
Me and Matt here. Just got up, so that's what I use these for. Anyways, just a little update on, hasn't been doing a whole lot. My YouTube account, I have no idea what's going on there. I've tried to make videos from the website, but they won't let me do that, so I don't know about what's going on. I'm using my other quick cam, and it cuts me off sometimes, and it takes a really long time to download, so we'll see how it goes. Nothing else is new. The new Slayer should be coming out soon, so I should be getting that. I heard the single, it's really good. I heard the new Devil Driver is fucking heavy, so fuck yeah. Whatever. Hey, let's see. Oh, so been watching wrestling, and both TNA and WWE, always WWE, and I guess D-Generation X is coming back. And, well, I mean, Shawn Michaels and Triple H, you know, which it's, you know, whatever, it's, not, you know, the New Age Outlaws, or X-Pac, or China even, but I mean, come on. I mean, as much as I love
D-Generation X, you know, those guys are, you know, really getting older, and it's not as fun as it was back in the late 90s, you know, when I was a teenager and everything was, you know, better, I guess you could say. So, yeah, nothing too much on the TNA, I guess. Yeah, watching that for a little bit. Sometimes I miss it, just like the UFC. I'm starting to get into that. Sometimes I'm confused on the fighters' names. Like, I know the names, but I can't, like, the faces, I guess. I don't know. I watch that once in a while, and some really great bloody fights, you know. No, not much on the music scene either. Like I said, the new Double Driver and Slayer and a lot of that good stuff. Anyways, I have no idea why I made the video, but if you have any questions or something you want me to talk about, then that would be cool. I still got a sunburn yesterday. It's the first time here in this part of Canada where we finally got the summer we've been waiting for, because it's been cold and shit. Anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Me and Matt here. I hope everyone had a great Christmas. Obviously, another year gone. Yeah. I hope everyone had a great Christmas. Another year of getting together with family and getting nice and saucy fucked up. Okay. I just finished watching on YouTube the match of DX and the Hart Dynasty, and I know that it was on and I missed it on Friday, and I regret that. It was probably, for me, one of the most conflicting matches, because I'm a fan of DX. I'm a fan of DX, but I'm also a Patriot, and I think that the Hart Dynasty is probably one of the new best Canadian tag teams there are, and so it was kind of, I mean, if they're gonna have a great match, they should have one. They should have one at least at maybe the Royal Rumble or No Way Out. Have a really good match. But this one was okay. I mean, they should have postponed the titles at least until, or have a rematch. I'm just rambling right now. But, yeah, I just wanted to point that out. It's a short video. So tonight is gonna be the Raw, and I'm not sure if I missed that or not, so I really don't know what's going on. However, I heard a rumor that Bret Hart, what the hell was that? I heard a rumor that Bret Hart signed a contract for January, sometime in January, to come back to the WWE, which kind of surprises me, but you know what? I kind of waited for that for a really long time, and I can't wait. When he was wrestling back in the early 90s and he was the WWF champion, I thought he was the greatest, and I never saw him in WCW because, of course, I was a fan of WWF and they were feuding, and so I never watched him in WCW. I just saw one match on DVD, but other than that, and I have the Bret Hart DVD, So that'll be fun. That'll be awesome. And there's a chance that they might have him. They might start the WWE TNA thing, because Hogan is over there on TNA, and I heard that they might start something there, but I have no idea. Anyways, that's it for me. Later.
Dude, fucking lay on the floor and so catches back there, we're not getting back there. No way. Yeah, stop.
Hi, me, Matt here. I wasn't really gonna do a video on this just yet, but I'm gonna, because it's been bothering me for a few years now, at least all of last year. I was watching TNA for, Impact yesterday for a little bit. I didn't watch all of it. I just watched maybe a few moments of it because, you know, I'm a huge wrestling fan, and, you know, that's obviously better than nothing. Unfortunately, you know, it's really, just, you know, it's, I don't know, Eric Bischoff is one of the worst. I don't know who writes the show, honestly. I don't know if it's Bischoff or Dix Carter. I don't know who it is. Hell, it could be fucking Hulk Hogan, you know, or whoever. But it's just rehashed WCW bullshit. I have never been a fan of WCW. I've seen it a few times. Last night was quite possibly, you know, there's just no words to describe how, so, I mean, there's one thing to have a legend come on and wrestle for maybe a night or two. It's another thing to just fucking let people come on there for a long time. You know, I've never been a fan of Ric Flair. I've put up with that bastard. I've put up with watching that man on TV for 2 decades, and now he's back. That is 2011, and he's fucking back. And now I get to see Hulk Hogan versus Sting. Well, I don't have to see it if I don't want to. Fuck, I don't even have to see Impact if I don't want to. But I'm a wrestling fan, and I feel that sometimes, just sometimes, it is a little bit entertaining. I'd rather be watching WWE. I've always been a big fan of WWE. It's almost coming up to 20 years that I have watched WWE. And I know a lot of people don't watch that show anymore. A lot of people don't associate themselves with being a wrestling fan anymore. And I understand that, I really do. But it's still entertaining to me. And I think that this whole thing with John Cena and Randy Orton is, well, it's stupid. I really hope that CM Punk actually destroys John Cena, because I'm getting sick of it. I got sick of the whole thing with, you know, Christian being a heel. You know, for once, he was actually a face. but then, I don't know, Vince McMahon or whoever the fucking creative staff is, they screwed it all up. They just screwed it all up, and they said, you know what? We're gonna put Randy Orton as the champion. We're gonna spoon feed Randy Orton and John Cena down your little throats, and you people are gonna enjoy that. You know, they did that with Hogan. They did that with Shawn Michaels. You know, it's really stupid. You know, there's no other words to explain it. You know, I was actually gonna do a little nod to Off the Rope show, but I just don't really, you know, I'm angry enough as it is right now with this whole thing. And you can just ask me, why don't you stop being a wrestling fan? Well, unfortunately, that's not an option for me. I've always been a wrestling fan. I plan on being a wrestling fan for a long time. It's just when I see rehashed fucking garbage on my TV, like Hulk Hogan, like Ric Flair, like Sting. Hell, Sting's not even the problem. He is, you know, because he's just a little bit younger than those guys. You know, he can actually go out and he can actually do it. You know, Scott Steiner, all those guys. And I even saw Kid Cash last night facing some guy that, you know, and that's why I should watch TNA a little bit more closely, because I don't know who that football player wannabe was. It's just, and Kid Cash was on there as well. These guys that were in their prime in the 90s, you know, and people say, and you know, you can say the same thing about Kevin Nash coming to WWE and Bret Hart, but at least those guys, see, Bret Hart's not even wrestling, and you know, Kevin Nash don't look that bad yet. Anyways, but we'll see. We'll see how this whole thing goes. Anyways, that's enough from me. See you later. Like, seriously, when do you say when? Hey, Mean Matt here. So as you can tell by yesterday's video, I have been away for 2 years. Just technical difficulties. So that's actually kind of too bad, you know, because I had a lot of good video ideas that unfortunately I wasn't able to do because of that. Obviously there's been a lot in my life. Even this summer, with the loss of Macho Man Randy Savage, my grandfather passed away. I guess most recently with Jack Layton, who should have been the Prime Minister of Canada, the new Prime Minister of Canada. But I will be talking about a lot of other stuff in the near future. A lot of things have also happened in wrestling, where Shawn Michaels obviously retired, and I guess in the last blog I wrote back in December of 2009, I know everyone thought that I hated it on Shawn Michaels, which is true. I mean, he was never my favorite wrestler. He definitely manned up and apologized to, well, him and Bret Hart obviously made amends. So, and Bret Hart did come back to wrestling, to the WWE, which was a shock for me because I never thought it would happen. So, it'll be interesting to see where a lot of these things go. Triple H is the new CEO, which I don't know if that's really storyline based or anything like that. So They were in Canada. They're in Edmonton, Alberta, on Monday, and I appreciate the whole Tim Hortons shout out that Triple H did. And yeah, we'll see tomorrow what happens on SmackDown. So I'll be doing other stuff too, like, I don't know, we'll see how it goes. But hopefully I'll be back for, well, until this webcam breaks up. So anyways, okay, bye. Hey, Mean Matt here. So, this is my third attempt making this video. You know, I watched, I saw Charlie Sheen. I actually didn't see the whole roast, but I saw a bit of it, and I'm glad that he's back. You know, I did a video a couple years ago about how I think parents need to understand that their kids should not take Disney stars as role models. Anybody as role models, as a matter of fact. You know, I look at these celebrities and I watch them and I go, well, these guys are killing themselves, you know, because, not literally, but they're, you know, you hear about she's anorexic, she's suicidal, all this other stuff that kind of really pisses me off because they're trying to set an example for kids. Okay, let's see. When I was a kid, I didn't have any role models. Yes, I was a fan of wrestlers. I was a fan of certain TV stars. I never once really looked up to them as role models. And I think that your kids should do the same thing. You know, it kind of really irritates me because, you see, well, actually, yeah, I think I mentioned that before, the whole thing about Miley Cyrus smoking weed, or whatever it was that she was smoking. Oh, she was a bong, and TMZ caught her, and then there was this whole thing going on about how she's basically should be shunned because of that. Well, here's the thing. First of all, she's a fucking human being. Second of all, people make mistakes. Now, this is exactly why I think celebrities are really stupid, because they don't understand. They're not celebrities. Parents are really stupid because they don't understand that celebrities are humans. You know, people are saying how stupid Charlie Sheen is, and that he shouldn't be an actor, and all this other stuff. Well, you know what? Charlie Sheen deserves... Anyone deserves as many chances as they can. Look at Mel Gibson. You know, I saw Mel Gibson a couple of years ago being prosecuted because he said some racial remarks and slurs, I guess, to this cop while he was intoxicated. Well, now he's doing a movie and it's okay, and so Mel Gibson's fine now. And now, but it seems that if Charlie Sheen does it, well, Charlie Sheen should be shit on because he's an idiot, you know. I think people were in the right frame of mind to help him because, you know, yeah, he did some mistakes, but you know what, everyone makes mistakes. And that's one thing I do respect out of Miley Cyrus, is that she did make mistakes, and she admitted it on Saturday Night Live, you know. And it's true. Because people they just need to understand how wrong it is to assume that television over there
should be your child's babysitter. Yeah, I mean, yes, I watched a lot of TV when I was a kid, but that didn't mean that it affected my life in any ways. You know, it just seems that, but that's my opinion, you know. That's my opinion. That's the way I see things nowadays. You can't focus on the more important issues in life. You have to focus on other people's life, and it's kind of ridiculous. Anyways, that's my time. Alright, yeah, bye. Hey, Mean Matt here. So, I just finished watching last night the Scott Hall story on ESPN. Actually, I saw it on YouTube. And, you know, it kind of made me, and it really was an interesting documentary. A friend of mine and myself were actually talking about it the other day, about Scott Hall, because I saw a video where they showed the match with him and Just Incredible, and how bad looking Scott Hall was. And I thought, well, that's just, you know, people think that Jake Roberts was bad, you know. But, see, you know, here's the thing. I don't feel bad for Scott Hall. And that might sound a bit rude. That might sound a bit, you know, terrible of me to say. But I don't feel bad for Scott Hall because you go 10 times to rehab. Do you not think maybe you should stop doing what you're doing? Say what you want about Jake Roberts, you know. I mean, shit, even Dave Mustaine from Megadeth went to rehab probably 12 times now, you know, and he's been sober for a fucking decade. But here's a, you know, it's fascinating because no one would ever have thought, out of all the wrestlers, no one ever thought that it was going to be Scott Hall. No one ever thought about that. And they showed the footage of when, you know, he came down the aisle and he looked just like, he acted just like a 90-year-old man. You know, he was so messed up. It just really had to have been the most, and just Incredible even said that was the most embarrassing match I've ever been involved with. But if you watch the documentary, they had Sean X-Pac Waltman on there, and he was saying that, you know, the guy who ran the show wanted Scott Hall to be there, and the fans expected it, but X-Pac was like, well, you know, that's bullshit. The guy should not have been there. He was in no frame of mind. And when you start having seizures, you know, that's the saddest part of it all, is that you can't erase that. But what got me was, yeah, Scott had a family where his mom was an alcoholic, his dad was an alcoholic, both his grandparents were alcoholics. You would think, well, you understand why he became the way he did. But on the other hand, if you see guys like Shawn Michaels or Kevin Nash or Sean Waltman
decide to stop doing drugs, do you think maybe it's high time that you start? Because when I saw WWE way back in the early 90s and had Razor Ramon come out, and he was a really good character, and then he left, and I think that's when everything kind of went all to hell because of that. In certain ways, I don't know, but that's kind of how things transpired, I guess. So it's very difficult to see someone go through that, but at the same time, you have to realize that it does happen, you know? I'm not too sure about how Jake Roberts is doing with his daughters, but we just found out that Scott Hall and his kid, his one son, are estranged now because he just cannot stop doing drugs. And it kind of pisses me off because here you have one of the top greatest wrestlers of the 90s, and you have Scott Hall in there. And you have to realize that, okay, so I understand the history now, and Scott Hall shot a guy in 83, or whenever, 83 or 84, and it doesn't get mentioned unless Bischoff or McMahon knew about this. So you have a guy like Scott Hall, who's one of the top greatest wrestlers, but you can't have Chris Benoit. I mean, yes, Chris Benoit murdered his wife and son and then killed himself. But he was not in the right frame of mind. And yet you choose to shun him. But here you have Scott Hall, who was, and still is, quite frankly, a mess. You know, it just doesn't really make sense. But that's only my opinion, you know. That's just how it is. I mean, it was one of those documentaries where you would think, okay, you know, you can't blame the wrestling world because it's not their fault that he's like that. It's Scott Hall's fault. You know, a lot of people will say, well, yeah, it was wrestling, but it wasn't wrestling. It was Scott Hall who chose to do drugs, who chose to gain 300 pounds, who chose to show up at an arena fucked up. So it's just, it's you know, something that people need to think about is that it's not wrestling that makes people who they are. Sure, maybe steroids, but even that, it's like, you have to separate that from reality sometimes. You know, I'm a lifelong wrestling fan, and I still choose to be, even though there's guys dropping before the age of 60. You know, I've noticed that anyways, but it happens, you know, it does happen, and it sucks, but, you know, yeah, if you haven't seen the documentary, you should watch it. Yeah, it's quite an interesting one. And scary at the same time. If you look, you know, you look at his face and he's just not there at the arena. It's quite disturbing, actually. So that'll be it for me. Okay. See you later. Hey, me, Matt here. Just me again. Just want to make a quick little video. So, for those of you metalheads who don't know, or maybe you do, I found out yesterday. Black Sabbath legendary guitar player, Tony Iommi, has just been diagnosed with the early stages of lymphoma. Yeah, you know, it's one of those things where you honestly understand where life is right now. And you know that things will have to die, but you don't think it's gonna be too soon. And, well, Tony Iommi is, along with Daryl Abbott, along with Randy Rhoads, along with Chuck Schlager. Sorry, I pronounced that wrong. But, along with those guys, one of the greatest guitar players of all time. And I know those guys have passed on. And I don't know what the future holds. But Black Sabbath are supposed to come out with a new album in the future. All new songs. And they're supposed to tour. And it, you know, it just so happens that Owen Choice gets thrown in the mix. And I don't know how long it's been. I just know I found out yesterday. And it sucks. You know, that's one of your guitar heroes. It's one of those guys that you think that will live forever. You know, we lost Ronnie James Dio 2 summers ago, and it's just mind-boggling. You know, it's just one of those things where you don't know what to say or how to feel. And, you know, him being one of the genuine guys in rock and roll, I don't know if this guy has an ounce of... He may have, you know, an ounce of arrogance or whatever he has. But he's just, you know, I hope that he gets a full recovery. I hope that there's help out there for him. And I hope that he feels better soon. I hope they find a cure. And, you know, I know it sounds selfish, but you don't know the future. And I hope that he can recover from this. You know, it sucks to lose a guitar legend. It sucks to lose any band member. It doesn't matter which band it is. It could be metal, it could be rock, it could be country, whatever. It always sucks to lose somebody that you have listened to most of your life. And so, feel better soon, Mr. Iommi, and hopefully, maybe one day I'll finally get to see Black Sabbath. And, I guess that's about it. Okay. Talk to you later. You know, the fact of the matter is that I think that WrestleMania coming up, and it's gonna be amazing. I heard that there's a hip-hop group that'll be opening for John Cena in his match against The Rock. So we'll see how that goes. The thing that really I talked about a lot of the matches that may pique my interest. There's one match coming up, and it's called the Big Show versus Cody Rhodes. And the fact is that Cody Rhodes is Intercontinental Champion. Now, I guess the thing that really gets to me is that, who knows, I think that the match Should be interesting. A lot of people are like, maybe the Big Show should not win. Like I said, with one match with Chris Jericho and CM Punk, I don't think it would be a bad thing for the Big Show to win, because if he becomes Intercontinental Champion, it's gonna be, he will have covered all the belts he's ever won. He has won all the belts if he wins the WWE Intercontinental Championship. Well, I mean, he hasn't been the European champion, but whatever. Yeah. On the other hand, I would think that if Cody Rhodes beats somehow the Big Show, it wouldn't be such a bad thing either, because the Big Show can challenge Cody Rhodes at the next pay-per-view. So it's kind of a win-win situation. The Big Show has won at almost every WrestleMania except for 15 and 16 and, you know, whatever. But we'll see what happens, because, you know, it would be cool to see Big Show as the WWE Intercontinental Champion. Paul White deserves to be one of the wrestlers who have held all of the belts in the WWE. So let's see how that goes. Alright, later. So it is now the biggest main event happening at Extreme Rules. Hey, Mean Matt here. Yeah, we got treated to 2 shows close together once again, because SmackDown was live yesterday, so I thought instead of doing just a Raw review, I would now do 2 reviews at once. And what an interesting turn of events that we have here. So the show kicks off Raw with Brock Lesnar coming out, being introduced by John Laurinaitis, saying that it's going to be Brock Lesnar and John Cena at Extreme Rules. So that prompts John Cena to come out. Now, the thing that interested me last week about Brock Lesnar debuting and giving him the F5, it actually meant something. You know, it was a statement. I know that Brock Lesnar didn't talk or anything, but it was a statement. This week, John Cena came out and bitch-slapped Brock Lesnar. Well, actually, that's not true either. He came out and said something like, "Thanks for last week," or some shit like that, and then bitch-slapped Brock Lesnar. Okay, so that after that ensued a brawl by the 2, which ended up as everybody from the locker room coming out and breaking up the fight. Now, while Brock Lesnar was plummeting John Cena, he managed to crack John's mouth open, and of course, his lip was bleeding. Hey, does anyone remember blood? Wow, it's been a while. So then we had Santino Marella and Brodus Clay take on Dolph Ziggler and Jack Swagger, and of course, they won because of Brodus Clay. I mean, look at him, he's a huge guy, so maybe they're gonna think about having Brodus and Santino as a tag team. I don't know. But it just seemed really interesting now. Then R-Truth came out and defeated Cody Rhodes, the former Intercontinental Champion. And then we had Lord Tensai take on Yoshitatsu. Now we saw Albert or Lord Tensai return or make his debut. And of course, Yoshitatsu, if anybody watches the After Up show on YouTube, knows that they wanted to have everyone on Twitter twit that they should have Yoshitatsu be a bigger star in the WWE. And it was sort of like their prayers were answered, except that he was demolished by Albert. Okay, so then Mark Henry came out and defeated CM Punk in no disqualification. It was kind of, well, not really. It was a Chris Jericho thing. So, yeah, there was that. Then Alberto came out. Alberto Del Rio defeated Zack Ryder. I mean, who thought that Zack Ryder could actually do that kind of a job? Of course, Alberto almost lost. I mean, we thought Zack Ryder had hope. And then Kane came out shortly afterwards to interrupt the special guests of Raw, the Three Stooges. No, I mean, a certain person didn't like the fact that Curly, or Will Sasso, who is, or was, the cast member of Mad TV and all sorts of stuff, but also he is a huge wrestling fan. And a certain person that I saw, and I'm not going to name who, did not like the fact that he came out and did what I thought was a pretty damn good job of impersonating Hulk Hogan. The thing that got to me was, I wonder how Dixie Carter and TNA are gonna take this. Hulk Hogan hasn't been in the WWE ring for years. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and then shortly after went into the TNA Impact along with Ric Flair, which was an ultimate slap to the face of Vince McMahon. So, I think that this was kind of fair game. Okay, I don't watch TNA all that much, but I'm pretty sure that they would have some kind of mimicry of WWE. I know they poke fun at WWE once or maybe twice, but I thought this was pretty good. And of course, I am a fan of Will Sasso, at least Will Sasso, who did Mad TV. So yeah, I didn't have a problem with that. And then John Cena in the main event defeated David Otunga. I don't understand why people have to put so much grease on their body. They look like a fucking roast, but that was kind of the way it was. I mean, David Otunga is jacked up a lot, so I mean, there you go. I was a little pissed off though, because David Otunga beat the shit out of John Cena, or for what it looked like. He gave him a couple hard elbows, and of course, just like Randy Orton, he decided to go to his prototype days and, think nothing of it, and then defeat David Otunga, which is pretty stupid. But then, the saving grace, Brock Lesnar came out and F5'd John Cena after the match and then stared at him. So, if you're gonna ask me, okay, what's my favorite match gonna be? Who do I want to win? Who do I want to win at Extreme Rules? Well, there you go. I believe it should be Brock Lesnar. I am fully support of Brock Lesnar. Always have been. You know, even in his UFC days. Besides me supporting other guys like George St. Pierre. But anyways, so SmackDown kicked off yesterday, to my surprise, because I heard that there was going to be a Legend Blast from the Past thing. So I'll just do a quick scan of that. I missed the beginning, so yeah, I'll watch it on Friday, obviously. But so John Laurinaitis came down and kind of gave Sheamus a talking to, and saying that his temper was out of control and all that other bullshit that heels should do, accuse others of going on. It's so Vince McMahon, Steve Austin, you know, and there's a fine, blah blah blah. And then Daniel Bryan came out, and you know, the basic jerk off, having the AJ come out, and who's still hot, man, you know. So she came out, and then, you know, Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, whatever you want to call him, came and told her to go back, you know, and she did. No, that was afterwards. No, first we had Randy Orton versus Mark Henry. Again! And a double count out that was. Yeah. Oh yeah, because Kane chokeslam Cowboy Bob Orton. Okay, I missed that part. Alright. Yeah, we had WrestleMania, and Kane beat Randy Orton, and of course Randy Orton went boo-boo faced, so they had a rematch, and Randy Orton won. I don't know why they needed a third match. Then Ryback came out and defeated a local wrestler. Yeah, there you go. That's kind of how that was. Riker, I kind of like him. He seems like he could be a future champion at one point or another. Then the Usos came out and defeated Heath Slater and Tyson Kidd. So, you know, I don't remember seeing the Usos ever win a match. But now hopefully they'll get a chance at being the champions. And then we had Piper's Pit, because it was. So this is how it happened. Because we had Piper's Pit, and Daniel Bryan came out, and of course called AJ out, and then AJ, looking as hot as ever, you know, tried to defend Bryan, and of course Roddy Piper would have none of it, and then, you know, Daniel Bryan telling her to get out of the ring, and she did. And then I thought John Cena slapped Brock Lesnar was bad. Holy shit. No, actually, Bryan slaps Roddy Piper and fucking beelines the ring like a coward. But whereas Daniel Bryan is the heel, that should happen. But anyways, I digress. So then we had a 6-person tag match. The Great Khali, Alicia Fox, Natalya versus Drew McIntyre, and Brie Bella and Nikki. Alicia Fox pinned Nikki. So that match was kind of there. And this is where I started watching the show. Because Hunico defeated Hacksaw Jim Duggan by disqualification.
Oh, because of Sergeant Slaughter came out and the whole American thing, and you know, how dare we have Hispanics on TV? At least that's what I got out of it, which is fine, you know, whatever. And Dusty Rhodes came out and interrupted his son, Cody Rhodes, talking about the Big Show. Now, I think what should have happened, because we had Cody Rhodes and we had Dusty Rhodes, why not have the 3 family members together? Why not have a match with Cody Rhodes and Goldust? Why not do that? That would have been cool. That would have been... No, that would have been really cool. Then we had the main event, Mean Gene Okerlund. I don't know, that guy must be like 81 or something now. Anyways, he teamed up with Sheamus to take on Daniel Bryan and Alberto Del Rio. And the match, of course, ended and all the celebrities coming out and kicking ass. So there you go. That was SmackDown. That was a pretty good SmackDown and a pretty good Raw. I can't wait to see what happens next week. So yeah, pretty cool. I'd like to see more of Lord Tunzai. And maybe have a tag team championship match. Maybe a triple threat match. The Usos and Brodus Clay and Santino versus Epico and whoever, you know, whoever the tag champions are. See you later.
I'll just do this really quick. But tonight marks the 13th anniversary of the death of probably one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Of course, I'm talking about the great Owen Hart. Owen Hart being the last member of the infamous Hart family. He was Intercontinental Champion, he was Tag Team Champion, he was King of the Ring. When, it's just shame that he would be taken from us so soon. I remember when he died, I don't know what was going through my mind, but everyone at school who was a wrestling fan had Owen in their knuckles, and I look back at it now, and it was a great show of respect for him to put himself on the line. Yeah, that's about it. A great man. Would have wished you would have became the WWF champion. Wish he was still with us. But the greatest man that ever would have been. That's all I can say. Yeah. Great man. Alright. Talk to you later. 1,000 episode of Raw coming up shortly. This should be fun. Hey, Mean Matt here. So it's kind of a shame. I don't have my WWE Championship belts with me. I could probably, yeah, there they are. There, it's the Undisputed WWF Championship and the Eagle Skull, or the Eagle Belt. Basically want to talk about the top 10, in my opinion, top 10 wrestlers that were great in the WWE, WWF slash, but never got to be the WWE champion. Number one is Scott Hall. Now, judging by his record, I can understand why. Scott Hall could have been WWF champion, but for some reason it just never panned out. They gave it to Lex Luger, and well, at that time, if that would have happened though, I guess we wouldn't have had that epic ladder match with him and Shawn. But I could easily, probably would have saw Scott Hall as Razor Ramon become the WWF champion, but then again, he went over to WCW. One of the first guys to actually go over to WCW. So that's a shame, but there it is. Number two is his tag team partner back in his AWA days, Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect. Maybe not in the 90s, because he was the guy who was Ric Flair's manager, and Ric Flair did have the championship belt, and then they went on to singles. He beat Ric Flair a couple times in a feud, and then he also went to WCW. And then he came back in 2002, which I thought it was just one appearance in the Rumble, but he ended up going to SmackDown for a bit. But then he left, and it's a shame because I would have saw him try to at least go after the WWE Championship. But then, unfortunately, he had passed away. So, and it's a shame because, like I said, he could have been the WWE Champion by that point. Number 3 is Big Van Vader. Now, Vader did come to WWE in '96. I don't know. I think around that time that's where I slowly stopped watching wrestling that year, and I only watched bits and pieces of it. And I did see Van Vader give Yokozuna a broken leg. I remember that. I remember, Vader being in the WWE. He was the WCW champion. And one thing I do want to point out too is, Scott Hall and Kurt Hennig did have the Intercontinental Championship, but it would have been cool to see them actually succeed as the WWE champion. But so yeah, Big Van Vader should have been the WWE champion. He was the WCW champion, but it happens, I guess. Number 4 is Roddy Piper. Now in his DVD he talks about how a lot of people actually talked about how he didn't need the title. He was another Intercontinental Champion. It's unfortunate that he lost it, but there it is, it happens. That's kind of too bad he didn't have it for that long, but there was another guy that could have been a WWE champion. Also, Jacques Rougeau, the guy that Roddy Piper beat for the Intercontinental Championship. That's number 5. Jacques Rougeau was also an Intercontinental Champion. He was also a Tag Team Champion. Very good to see that he was... I don't know where he is now, but he was a great wrestler. Number five is Mabel, or Viscera. I know that's just a random thing out there. You know what? I don't know what the problem was. I think that, with him being in a WWE at that time, as long as he was, they should have gave him a title shot. It doesn't matter. They should have just given him one. But I don't know if they thought he was that good. Number 6 is Big Boss Man. Big Boss Man was one of the best. A guy that had the Tag Team Championship with Ken Shamrock in the late 90s. And he had the Hardcore Championship. When I used to play with my figurines, I made him the Intercontinental Champion, and that's one thing he should have had. And of course, he would have been a really good tag team, or a really good WWE champion. I actually just saw his a match of his in All Japan Wrestling. So really, should have, and like again passed away before we knew it, before our eyes. Number 7 is Jake Roberts. Jake the Snake Roberts obviously had a lot of demons inside. I think that, and there's an example of a guy that never had the WWE Championship, but also never had the Intercontinental Championship, and that's kind of sad. But he was a champion in other territories, but just never the WWE. So but we knew he had some issues and some problems, and just he sorted them out, and there you go. Number 8 was, even though he was the WWE champion for about 20 seconds, I'm guessing, but I'm not sure, it was Rey Mysterio. Yeah, he did win the title, but, under stupid circumstances, they decided to, after he won the tournament, defeat, or go up against John Cena. And you think that Dolph Ziggler was world champion for about a couple seconds, that's mentioned. But then again, with Rey Mysterio, nobody even ever talks about him being the WWE champion. But it was just taken away from him, and I want to see him go back, and maybe if he ever does become the WWE champion again, to win it, to keep it longer than it was, let's see. Number 9. If I'm not I can't remember where I am, but anyways, I'll just say I think it's number 9. The British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith. Yes, another Intercontinental champion, another tag team champion. I even think he was the hardcore champion at one point. And we lost him way too soon. If he was still around, I think maybe he should, have had a chance at the WWF Championship, or even now come back and become the WWE Champion. But it's unfortunate that these guys have been taken away from us too soon. And my number 1 pick, I'm going to say the same thing. That he was taken away from us too soon. And of course, I'm talking about Owen Hart. Owen Hart was one of the best in the business. A great Intercontinental champion. He was a great villain. But Intercontinental champion, European champion, WWE Tag Team champion. And it was just a shame that he was taken from us too soon. A lot of these guys that were taking us away from us too soon before they got a shot at the WWE Championship. I know I scrambled on, I know I stumbled a bit. I always do when I make these videos, but there you go. Alright, I hope I made my top 10. If I didn't, I'm not doing this video again. Okay, bye. Happy Halloween. Hey, me and Matt here. A little bit angry because I just made a video and it fucking cut out. So I'm gonna attempt to do this again. If you watched Raw, and I know I didn't do a review yet, but if you watched Raw, then you would know that next week is old school, which means they're gonna have what basically they had last year and the year before that, and I thought that was pretty cool. So the first thing that comes out is what happened, where they left off last week, is where Mr. McMahon came out and said he wanted a match with Heyman. So Monday happened and McMahon was in the ring and he said basically that he wants to challenge, he still wants to fight with Heyman. So Heyman comes out and says, you know what, this shouldn't really happen, you're the boss, blah blah blah, and takes a cheap shot. And so Heyman hits the crutches to Heyman, McMahon hits the crutches to Heyman, and then Brock Lesnar's music hits and Brock Lesnar makes his return. Triple H comes out and makes his return as a wrestler, and I thought it was really cool. Anyways, he runs down, Brock Lesnar meets him outside the ring, Triple H does a weak Lou-Fez Prez, and I'm not gonna ignore that, Christine. But I saw some blood. Again, something new. You don't have to see blood all the time in wrestling, but when you do, it's awesome. Why not? Then we had Ryback defeating Dolph Ziggler. I like Dolph Ziggler. I hope he cashes in soon. But not, you know. Yeah, I think he should cash in soon. That would be pretty cool. Who knows, maybe if Jack Swagger loses, he could run in and pin Del Rio. Then CM Punk came out and proclaimed that he was God. There's only one God, and his name is Paul Levesque. That's according to The Rope Show. Then Mark Henry came out and defeated the Great Khali. The same match from SmackDown. So hopefully they're going to be done with that. Then we had Zeb Coulter, Dirty Dutch, a.k.a. And he confronted Alberto Del Rio on the Miz TV. Pretty good hype up for WrestleMania, should I say. Then we had Randy Orton defeated Antonio Cesaro. I'm glad they didn't put up the belt because it would have been for free, and hopefully maybe in the near future have a pay-per-view match for the US title. Then we had Sheamus come out and cut a promo for no reason on Wade Barrett's movie. And then we had R-Truth defeating Cody Rhodes in the match. Then Team Hell No had a stipulation for some reason, but they defeated the Primetime Players anyway. Kane had to fight with one arm but tied behind his back, and Daniel Bryan had to be blindfolded. Now, one of the stupidest things uttered I ever heard. If I'm blindfolded, I can't see. Then we had Sheamus and Randy Orton come out after the Shield and attack. Actually, it was pretty clever, because Sheamus' music hit, and then Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose left the ring as Randy Orton came and attacked Seth Rollins. Not one of my picks, but I'd like to see where this goes. And we had Jack Swagger defeat The Miz, and again, a good match. I don't mind this whole new Jack Swagger. Then we had John Cena defeat CM Punk for the #1 contender. Two things. A, you knew that this was going to happen. You knew that you were going to have the CM Punk lose to John Cena, because John Cena deservedly, and honestly deservedly, got the opportunity to go to WrestleMania to beat The Rock, because that's what's going to happen. So we all knew that, but it was such a good match. John Cena did some moves he's never done before. We saw the pile driver again. I heard that was illegal, but it was such a good match, even for John Cena. So, you know, this WrestleMania is coming up to be really cool. But it's still early, so maybe we will get a triple threat for the WWE Championship. And that's not a bad thing, because we had it at WrestleMania 20, the triple threat match for the World Championship. So why not? You know. Anyways, that's it for me. Bye. What? I don't know how to start this video, so I'll just say it. I went on Facebook today, later this afternoon, and found out that Jeff Hannigan passed away at 11:30. He had liver failure. I know that he was sick previously, and they had to replace him with, I can't remember who it was. Right now it's just shocking. It really is. In a way, it feels like it could have happened, but you don't expect it. And that's I don't know what to say. It's still trying to sink in. And I don't know what Slayer has to do, or what they're gonna do from then at this forward on. But I feel like we just lost another one of our heavy metal legends. So, this isn't beer, but, rest in peace, Jeff. Hey, me and Matt here. So, I know it's late. Actually, it's very late. Back in September 22nd, 2006, I had decided that, well, looking at videos for no reason, just for the hell of it. Excuse me. I was just looking up videos on, you know, Yahoo, I think, at the time. And I came upon this site called YouTube. And it was one of those things where I decided that I was going to check it out, and then I became a member. Somebody said that, or no, I just became a member. And so after that, I had my first YouTube friend, Zion Productions. If you don't know him, you probably should. and he suggested that I started making YouTube videos. So through the years, through I'd say the first couple months of making my videos, you know, getting to know YouTube as a community and knowing how fun it was, it kind of was cool. It was very cool for me because I got to meet people from different parts of the world. I got to talk to a lot of people, and it really changed my mind on a lot of things. And I kind of made a lot of videos in the rest of 2006 and 2007, and regret the fact that I deleted those videos. You know, one of the things that I will always regret is deleting most of those videos, since the only video on this channel that's the oldest is November 2007. Maybe that's why I'm making this video now instead of September 22nd, is because I've made a video actually in this month, although it was many years ago, but I think that it was a lot of fun. You know, I don't usually, you know, think about making videos if there's nothing to talk about. Sometimes there is, sometimes I'll do a video, sometimes I'll ramble. You know, that's just the way it is. And there are times when, yes, I thought about quitting. I thought about, you know what, I won't be, I'm not going to put up with it anymore. I can't do it anymore. Because A, there was nothing really to talk about, and B, you find a lot of people, obviously, on YouTube that want to take pot shots on you. So when I looked at that, and then I thought, you know what, fuck it. I'm on YouTube, and I'm going to stay on here for as long as I can. So I did, you know, and despite what other people say about me and my videos, and the advice I would give to anybody who loves making videos and has that problem is, you know, that they're just people. They're just people who like to bash you for some reason or another, and they're gonna say stupid things, and, you know, I choose to ignore it because they don't know me, I don't know them, who cares? But sometimes it affects other people more than others. So yeah, you know, make more videos for as long as I can. You know, I don't know how many of you watch my videos, but the majority of people that do seem to want to try to crack me, I guess. And I think there was a lot of times in the beginning of my YouTube thing where I thought about seriously not making videos. And I know for a fact, yes, and of course, unfortunately, I don't have them up anymore, but I made videos where I thought, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I don't really want to be made up as a joke. But, you know, it happens. So, yeah. I mean, the videos I do have, I think it's cool. But at the same time, I wish I would have kept the ones I did in 2006 and 2007. It had all this Rockstar Supernova stuff, and my videos that, you know, bashing Shawn Michaels. But other than that, I think that, you know, if I can't be an actor or get on TV or whatever, this is the second best thing that I could do. And I did a video a long time ago too, I guess, about spina bifida. So if I ever think about doing one, because that's what I have, spina bifida. So if I ever do another video about that, I might. There could be a possibility, but who knows? Anyways, so in the words of John Cena, whether you like me or you hated me, you know, or just like me, whatever, you know, thanks for watching my videos, and for those of you that added me as a friend, you know, thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. Whether you watch my videos or not, I don't know, but yeah, I'll stay making wrestling or whatever other videos I can, so yeah, thanks. There we go. Bye. Hey, me, Matt here. So, most of you have heard by now, and of course I have too, and when I did, I wanted to make a video, but I didn't know quite how to do that, because I have pros and cons. Yes, I like to play devil's advocate a lot, when I hear this stuff especially, and that is CM Punk, Phil Brooks, is retiring, or, well, I guess you could say that. His contract is up as of July, I think. And a lot of people have made videos on how they feel about CM Punk, and a lot of them are pretty negative. I, for one, am a huge fan. I have been since he's come to the WWE, well, ECW. Here's the thing. So let's start with, you know, the thing that I'm for CM Punk is, here's a guy who came into the WWE, and he was a mid-card, then he won the ECW championship. Then he became the tag team champion with Kofi Kingston. Then they put him in the world title spot. And, you know, it kind of pissed me off that they would have had to do that, because I just don't think he was ready. I don't know exactly. I mean, he says that they came to him, and they said, you know, we're gonna give you the world title. So I don't know what happened there. I thought that it was too soon, because he ended up being a mid-card anyways. They would not let him be in the main event, but he was the world champion. Yeah, later on, they have him beat Jeff Hardy for the WWE Championship. So, again, they didn't use him as a main eventer. If they did, I'll have to go look up again and see where they had. They, you know, they bring him back as a champion again and again, and still mid-card. We don't want to use him.
the longest WWE champion of all time, beating out. Well, actually, he's the second. I know there was another one, but then they had Bruno Sammartino be the first guy. So great, he's the longest WWE champion ever. Then this generation, you could have had CM Punk versus Chris Jericho as the main event. That should have been the main event. But no, you had to have The Rock versus John Cena once in a lifetime, which was a crock of bullshit. You should have had CM Punk take on Daniel Bryan as one of his matches for a pay-per-view, and that never happened. You had John Cena, who was not the champion, be the main event of WrestleMania 29. So what do you expect, John Cena, or what do you expect CM Punk to do? And CM Punk did the reigns. He did the reigns, and he went on to say he's the best in the world. A smart move or not, I don't know. Ask Chris Jericho. But I've heard a lot of things when I'm watching these reviews saying that CM Punk is selfish, he's an asshole. But I tend to look at, well, I could see what they're coming from. Here's a guy that had the championship belt, both main championship belts. He had the Intercontinental Championship belt. Yeah, he was the tag team champion. He was the ECW champion, so well, he faced The Undertaker last year at WrestleMania, so I can understand when they say, what is he complaining about? But here's the thing. If you're the WWE champion, you should main event. That's the problem with the WWE nowadays, is that there is no fucking main event. And the last time that they did main event WrestleMania, and I'm not talking about last year, because last year they had to kiss John Cena's ass because he had a big boo-boo. With everything that went wrong with him, they had to make him beat The Rock at WrestleMania 29. What happened there? You know, you have the guy like CM Punk face The Undertaker when he should have been the champion. The Rock has been out of the company for many years. And he comes back and he gets the WWE Championship at Royal Rumble. And then again, you're going to turn around and you're going to do the same thing with Batista. Have him win the Royal Rumble. I sure fucking hope that WrestleMania 30 is just as good as WrestleMania 20, WrestleMania 10. I know people have said WrestleMania 20 was a shithole. I quite enjoyed that. Maybe one day I might review that. The fact of the matter is, I'm still a CM Punk fan. When he decides to come back, I'm still going to be a CM Punk fan. Even though he was the WWE champion, even though he was the world champion. He's the longest WWE champion. He did not get any respect, in my opinion. Maybe from the fans. But you took a guy who should have been in the main event when it was deserved. But you chose to give it to somebody that has been out of the company for a long time. Fucking shame. You guys have no... Bye. Hey, Mean Matt here. So, you know, sometimes there's good publicity, sometimes there's bad publicity and all that. I don't watch the news, and I don't watch the news mainly because I know that most of the time I feel the newscasters don't know what they're talking about, and sometimes they would like to bring on the bullshit because that's what they know. So 2 weeks ago, the Ultimate Warrior died. Jim Hellwig, 54 years old, just got inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame 2014. Appeared at WrestleMania 31. Then the next night on Raw, they actually brought him back. They brought him back, came out, and did probably one of the most inspirational speeches. One last time. And the next day, find out that the Ultimate Warrior has died. Dead of a heart attack. Just like that. So, coincidence or not, that he came out Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania 2014, said the most inspirational speech he could, and then the next week, or the next day, he's dead. So, leave it to Fox News, Nancy Grace in particular, to run her fucking cunt mouth. Yeah, yes, Nancy Grace, you are a fucking cunt. You deserve to burn in hell after what you've done to the business of wrestling, after talking smack, interrupting wrestlers on your show. Surprised Kevin Nash didn't come over there and smack the shit out of you when he was talking about Chris Benoit and drugs. Yes, I will even go that far. Did Ultimate Warrior have a problem? Yes, he did. Did Ultimate Warrior do steroids? Oh yes, he did. But that was fucking years ago. The man that I saw, the man that we all saw at WrestleMania 30, the Hall of Fame, the man who poured his heart out, who apologized to many people that he wronged, to make amends with any people that he did wrong. You can't even fucking bring that up. You have to belittle because you are a fucking cunt. You suck. I don't usually use that word, but in your case, Nancy Grace, I will use that word because that's what you are. You are a disgrace to the news industry. You are a disgrace to the wrestling industry because that's what you'd like to do. You like to belittle a company that you know nothing about. You like to belittle a sport that you know nothing about. You are a piece of shit, and you don't deserve anything. And this is not me, Matt, talking. This is Matt Mazurkovich talking. I am a 22-year wrestling fan, a hardcore wrestling fan, and you fucking just smarched besmirch my wrestling company and everything that it stands for. Everything that it works for, and you fucking ruined it. Because of the ratings of your stupid little shit programming. You are a terrible human being, and you don't deserve anything. You don't deserve any credit. You're a fucking loser. I hope the warrior can hear you up there, can hear you and strike you down like a fucking loser that you are. That man had a wife, 2 daughters. You're a fucking loser. Everything that man worked for, and you have to tear it down, all because of your fucking ratings. And it's not just wrestling, it's other shit too that you wrongfully have information to, all because of your fucking beliefs. I hate you. I hate what you stand for. And I hope you rot in hell. Long live Ultimate Warrior. You will always be in our hearts and in our minds. And I hope everybody knows how important that the Ultimate Warrior was to us fans. And to Nancy Grace. Hey, Mean Matt here. So, last Friday was a big, day for me. It was another milestone in my life. A scary one at that. Last year, I had turned, last week, I had turned 30. Bye-bye 20s, bye-bye to the youthful days now, for sure. I guess. I remember 10 years ago, before I turned 20, I was scared of my life. I was scared of my life changing, no longer being the kid I once was. But then kind of realized that things change. And so yeah, now I'm 30. And scary time in my life now, because you have to change a few things around. Things take more seriously. Hopefully my 30s will be as good as the 20s were. Those will surely be missed. Yep. Hey, Mean Matt here. So, if you're like me, you love TV. Yeah, if you like me, you like watching TV, and I watch a lot of TV. Been doing it since I was a kid. I think TV is the best thing ever, man. One thing I've noticed though, and it kind of happens a lot now, is watching the season finale or season ender of TV shows. So I watch a lot of watching How I Met Your Mother, and it was a good show, and then all of a sudden it just decided to end. So I thought, okay, I wonder how the season ender is gonna be, and then the season happened and everything went nicely except for a few things, and I apparently wasn't the only person to think that. So watching that and knowing that there was an alternative
last week was the season ender, the show end finale of 2.5 Men. And it's quite possibly one of the longest shows recently that I could think of, because that show started my last year of high school, I think. And then, of course, in 2011, there was a lot of issues with Charlie Sheen, and the whole winning thing came out. And then there was Chuck Lorre, who was badmouthed by Charlie Sheen, and it kind of got out of control. And the thing that really bothered me about the season ender, or the show's final show, was the fact that it's 2015. You would think that Charlie Sheen would make amends with Chuck Lorre, or vice versa. I don't know if it ever happened. I don't know what the hell happened, but at the same time, I don't know. I think there's a lot of issues that surrounded something, I don't know, but the show ended poorly, I think. Angus T. Jones came back as Jake, and if I remember correctly, there was some issues with him. I know that Charlie Sheen has changed his ways. At least I like to think he has. So there's no reason why he couldn't have appeared. There was a lot of talk about him. There was a lot of talk about recent events that happened, or at least events that happened in 2011. Yeah, there just seemed to be a lot of things that should have happened, and it didn't happen, and it kind of, I can't say it pisses me off, I think it kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Probably would leave a bad taste in anybody else's mouth. And I think Chuck Lorre acted like a child, in my opinion. Maybe Charlie Sheen was trying to reach out. Maybe Chuck Lorre was trying to reach out. Maybe. I don't know. It is what it is. And it kind of... I hate when shows do this. I know that it's Parks and Recreation's last season. So I hope that it's a better show ender. But these things happen. Friends didn't end like that. A lot of shows are starting to end disappointedly, and it kind of irritates me in a lot of ways. Maybe it irritates a lot of you. I don't know. Let me know. And talk to you later. Bye. Hey, Mean Matt here. So, tonight is WrestleMania 20... Fuck. Hey, Mean Matt here. So, let's talk about... Well, first of all, before I talk about any wrestling stuff, I just noticed in my last video as well is that my hair on this side's a lot shorter. I am growing my hair out, everyone, so let's hope it works. Anyhow, so let's go to the WWE Royal King of the Ring. But first I want to talk about this new DVD coming out. It's another Nirvana documentary. Another Kurt Cobain documentary that's a lot more clear, apparently, about his suicide in '94 of April. And I think, you know, it's funny, when I was a kid, it was all about, well, he was murdered, allegedly having Courtney Love murder him, and there was a DVD on that. Well, actually, it was a video, a VHS on that back in '99. I bought it.
Interesting DVD. Call it a DVD again. It was an interesting documentary. And then another documentary about a song. Now this documentary coming out, just forgot the title, it escapes me. I can't wait to see it. I know that last year Nirvana got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Chris and Dave Grohl, Chris Novoselic, come in and do their thing with a bunch of different singers, female singers, oddly enough. I didn't see Paul McCartney do his thing. Actually, I don't even think they got an album. It was just one song, but it should be interesting to see this DVD, to see this documentary. I love documentaries, and obviously Nirvana, so we'll see how this goes. So let's talk about the King of the Ring. I didn't watch Monday Night Raw last week. I was told that it was a piece of shit, so I'm just gonna talk about the King of the Ring and who's gonna be in it. Now something just fucked right up here. Okay, so we have Dolph Ziggler, Wade Barrett, that faced off last week, and Barrett's going in the tournament, and we have R-Truth and Stardust, and oddly enough, R-Truth. It's going to be R-Truth and Wade Barrett, Bad News Barrett, this week, tonight, actually. And again, I'm not a huge fan of R-Truth, never really was, so I am hoping for Wade Barrett, but we'll see. Then next week, they're going to face either Dean Ambrose versus Sheamus, or Neville versus Luke Harper. Now, we did see in England, I believe, it was Wade Barrett versus Aaron Neville, both Englishmen. I love Aaron. I love this new guy, Aaron Neville. I mean, the guy from NXT, obviously, he is a great high flyer. He's obviously doing a lot more moves than most high flyers I've seen in the WWE in recent years. I often, myself, compared him to Max Moon and Billy Kidman, which is kind of odd, but that's, I guess, what he seems to me. Also, they're gonna have at the Payback. Keep saying on my videos. This pisses me off. At the at this new pay-per-view, we're gonna see at Payback. We're gonna see a triple threat: Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Randy Orton going. And I saw WrestleMania, and it was on a shitty TV, but I saw it anyhow, and I liked it. It wasn't the best. I remember saying, off topic a little bit, I remember saying at WrestleMania 19, because they sort of had it as an outdoor event, I said, I hope they do more outdoor events at WrestleMania. And many years later, thinking, I hope they do another indoor WrestleMania. I'm getting tired of it, because, I mean, this WrestleMania, you should have had Wade Barrett and Undertaker on last, because that's how it, you know, their lights, it's not a scary thing. They're not the new face of fear, the old face of fear. It's nothing, because their lights didn't go down when they came in. You had Wade Barrett and the zombies from Walking Dead. So that was fine. There's obviously talk of and I hope that it works. In fact, I would hashtag Rock versus Triple H WrestleMania 32. I want to see that happen. It was going to be a mixed take with Stephanie and Ronda Ronda Rossi. But now that won't happen. Let's see one-on-one about the last time. Triple H versus The Rock. One more time. Hell, we'll make that a triple threat, and make that with the Big Show. Anyways, looks like I gotta go. Alright, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hey, how's it going? It's been it's been a week since I've been on here, I guess. I was on here doing the same thing I'm basically gonna do now, and wasn't really looking forward to doing this video. I was away, I came back, and I find out that another legend has passed away. Roddy Piper has passed away at the age of 61. Back in 2003, I believe it was, he had something wrong with his knee. So they looked at it and they found out that it was cancer. Now this was after he and Ric Flair lost the tag titles, and they found this out. So he was in remission as of 2005. He appeared at WrestleMania 21. He looked good, you know, he looked good for a very long time. He looked very good. And I think they must have just recently found out that this cancer must have come back. He eventually passed away from cardiac arrest. I'm speechless. You know, we lose Warrior, we lose Savage, we lost Dusty Rhodes. Now losing this guy. Roddy Piper was not really into wrestling when I started watching. It wasn't until 1994 when he made the guest appearance at WrestleMania 10 with him and refereeing Yokozuna and Bret the Hitman Hart match. I remember the bottom line statements he used to do. In fact, it's a funny story. When I was at Sick Kids Hospital, the hospital for sick children in Canada, in Toronto, I remember watching Monday Night Raw, and he was cutting a promo for Bottom Line in Toronto at Sick Kids, and I might have got my dad to see where he was, even though it could have been a promo from the week before when I wasn't in the hospital. Roddy Piper was the man who, without Stone Cold Steve Austin, without Dean Ambrose, without CM Punk, you will have no Roddy Piper. Without those guys, there's a lot of things that he was to the company. He was the man, he was the rebel, he was the badass. He could fuck things up throwing the boss, and basically that's the way it was. It sucks to know that this year we've lost two legends in the business of the WWE. It surely does, and it sucks a lot more that we've lost another legend like Roddy Piper, the man with a thousand sayings, his own show on the wrestling program. This man was quite possibly one of the greatest, and he didn't even need a WWE championship or a WWF championship for that matter. He went on the Intercontinental, and he went on the Tag Team Championship with Ric Flair, a man who in the 80s he teamed with can't remember what federation. NWA. Yeah, I think that's what. No, Mid-Atlantic. Yeah, Mid-Atlantic Wrestling. To find out that they will go to the WWE. Roddy Piper was in a match in 1983, the first Starrcade, with Greg the Hammer Valentine, the infamous dog collar match. Brutal as hell, and the man, he lost the match, but it was probably one of the first brutal matches in a pay-per-view, if I'm not mistaken. Roddy Piper will be missed by me, by you, by all his fans, his family. We'll miss you, Hot Rod. See you later. Hey, me Matt here. So, SummerSlam is in the books, and yeah, it's kind of interesting. So Undertaker tapped out slowly. The ref didn't see it. Apparently, something happened where the match had to restart, and Taker basically made Brock Lesnar pass out. So it's a controversial thing that happens. Does it need to happen? Did it need to happen? First of all, did Taker really need to have a match with Brock Lesnar 2 years after the streak ended? I don't know, quite frankly. It should have happened last year at SummerSlam. It happened now, so it's already over and done with. I don't understand what's gonna happen now. We'll just have to wait and see, I guess. Also, this past Monday and Friday was a pretty decent Raw and SmackDown. It was actually pretty cool. I saw a bit of SmackDown, but I didn't see all of it, but there were some interesting surprises, and I think that usually happens when things are kind of up in the air. So, the Dudley Boys are back. Team 3D, whatever. They're known as the Dudley Boys again. So, that means a few things. That means TNA is almost out of business. I mean, Christ, they had AJ Styles in Tokyo, Japan. all Japan, you have the American Wolves in TNA. You have Bully Ray, Team 3D in TNA at one point. So TNA is still up and going, but for how long? You can't have... You did have the Wolves in NXT, but they had to have their names changed for some fucking reason. Or, you know, you can say, well, let's go out and let's have the Hardys go back to WWE. I don't know. But I keep hearing how WWE is changing. And it's kind of like, okay, well, let's see what goes from here. Because now Austin Aries is out of a job. As of right now, he's rumored to go to the WWE. So anyways, Monday came, and two surprises happened. I didn't watch all of Thursday. I don't think Thursday really had any surprises as of right now. So let's say, I don't know, Team 3D came back. Also at the end of the night we had Sting come back. So he's back, but let me get this straight. He didn't earn a title shot against Seth Rollins yet. We're going to give him one. Okay, here's a guy who's never been in the WWE for a long period of time. He comes in, he faces Triple H at WrestleMania 31. He loses, and now he's back with the title. Which is kind of an interesting thing. Also with Team 3D, do you not think this is sort of like the New Age Outlaws thing? Oh yeah, they're gonna come, they're gonna win the titles back and then lose the titles and then go back off of the radar. I don't know. Pretty interesting to see what happens. I'm pretty interested to see what happens. So, yeah. Alright, bye. Hey, me Matt here. Just watching WrestleMania 9. Not a bad start, not a bad show. I can't wait for WrestleMania 32. It should be great. I disagree with some people when they say that this show was the shits. However, I think there's 2 disqualifications, and these guys banged up, facing, and thankfully losing to Money Incorporated. And I think you know what I think about the ending to the Yokozuna Bret Hart match. Bye for now. Hey, me and Matt here. So, I kind of would like to get something off my chest. Living in the city now for a few weeks. Been noticing a lot lately. I don't drive myself. I can drive. There are wheelchair accessible cars that you can drive. There's a lot of things that really piss me off, and I'd like to get them off my chest right now. The fact is that nowadays people don't care, and people don't care because they don't look across the street. I see many people when I'm being driven places, and I'm a backseat driver, obviously. There's a lot of people out there that drive fast and don't seem to notice people crossing the street. A lot of people cross the street and they don't look both ways, and it's really starting to piss me off. There's 2 people that I saw 2 days ago going across the street
Actually, no. They went across the parking lot. Didn't bother looking both ways to see if any cars were coming. And the thing is, they're the reasons why things happen, accidents happen. They'll get hit by a car, and then who's ending up to get the blame? It sure as shit isn't the guy that didn't bother fucking looking both ways. And you know something? It's people like that that piss me off. There's another thing that really gets on my nerves. It's see over, go over. When you do a driving test, you obviously get to hear see over, go over, which means if you see an animal on the road, then you have to run it the fuck over. You can't swerve it, miss it. You gotta run it over. Yet, if you see a person on the road, you have to put your own life at risk. And that pisses me off. Because if I have to do that for a fucking human being who doesn't know what a sidewalk is and thinks that they own the road, then guess what? They're gonna get hit and possibly killed. That's why I don't drive. That's basically why I don't drive. Because I don't want to, A, take that responsibility, and B, well, basically, that's it. You know? I don't want to be known as the person that ran over somebody because they were too stupid enough not to see where they were going. And it's not just people across the street, it's bikers. People on bikes or scooters that think, hey, let's go on the road. Motorcycles, I understand. They can use the road because they can. But people on bicycles, scooters, think they own the road. Even skateboarders. Hey, you know what? I go for a walk and they cut right in front of you like nobody's business. So here's the thing. That's how it goes. That's the way I don't drive, because I don't want to take responsibility when I hit somebody because they're too fucking stupid to move. I live in the city now for a long time. Not a long time. For a while now. And even when I was at my parents' place or wherever, that same thing happened. And it's one of those things that gets on my nerves, obviously. So, I don't know where this is going, but that's my rant. That's the way it is. And, yeah, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hey, Mean Matt here. So, just, was looking on Facebook and saw something that caught my eye. I kind of wanted to share. So, apparently, watching, or, once again, looking, not watching, this thing here on Facebook saying that, there was a controversy, kind of. I was listening to Chris Jericho's podcast with, Seth Rollins. And Seth Rollins actually was asked about, I think it was somebody said something the wrong way about him, or criticism or whatever, and he said there was a thing with Bret Hart who criticized his wrestling, basically. He said that a wrestler like him should not have done a move or whatever. The way he did, that led him to be out of action or something. I've seen the interview 2 days ago, so I should have actually looked that up. But anyways, that being said, I saw this here blurb that was put up, and it was basically Bret Hart responds to what Seth Rollins said. Well, basically what happened was Seth Rollins, who looked up to Bret Hart as a wrestler, being a guy who was not your average wrestler, you know, big muscle guy, I guess. Apparently was insulted by what Bret Hart said about how, what I just said, the fact that he's out of business, or was out of business for a while, because he made a false move. And then I just saw this response here. It was, first I did this thing where they posted what Seth said on a Chris Jericho podcast. Then we have this Bret Hart apology here. Oh, I see. This was about